In this video, we're just going to learn about rounding because we have rounding and estimating next. So rounding, its definition is to approximate a number to the nearest 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. So when we round, we always look one place to the right of the digit you want to round to. So what this means is, if we have our example, if we have the number 328 and I want to round to the nearest 100, well, I look to the place value to the right to be able to round it. But what's our rule? Rounding rules are, okay, if the place value to the right is 5 or above, we give it a shove, which means we go up. Okay? And then if it's 4 or below, we let it rest. We let it rest. So 5 or more or above, 5 or above, give it a shove. 4 or below, let it rest. Okay? So if we look at our example, 328, we're rounding to the 100, so we look to the digit to the right of it, and we see that 2, well, it's below 4, so we're going to let that 3 rest. So it's rounded to 3, and then we put zeros in the place value. So another way to see that is if we put it on a number line, we have 330 or 300. Actually, this should be 400. If this is 400, okay, and we have 350 in the middle. Well, we know that somewhere between 300 and 350 is 328. So we can see that 328 is much closer to 300 than it is to 400. That is why this would be rounded down. Okay, let's do another example. So we have 6,541. And we are trying to round to the nearest 1,000. So we underline it, we look to the right of that, and we look at this digit. Well, it's 5, so let's go back to our rule. 5 or above, we give it a shove, which means we go up. So this would round to 7,000. Again, if this was on a number line, we have 6,000 over here, we have 7,000 over here, and in the middle we have 6,500. Well, 6,500 is greater than 6,541 is greater than 6,500. So we can see that this number is closer to 7,000 than it is 6,000. That is why that number is rounded up. Okay, so if you need to draw a number line to help you visually see why that number would be rounded up, go for it. If you do not, just remember the rule. If it's 5 or above, you give it a shove. You mean you give it to the next place value. Okay, next number in that place value. So right here, it was 5, so we push that 6 up to 7, then zeros behind it. Okay, if it's 4 or below, we let that number rest. We just keep it the same. So since this number is a 2, it's below 4, we let the 3 rest. We don't go up, we don't go down, we keep it the same. Okay, so letting it rest means keeping it the same. So if I have the number 8,276, and we are rounding to the nearest thousand, okay, we're rounding to the nearest thousand. I look to the right, I see that that number is a 2, so it's below 4. Our rule is let it rest, keep it the same. So it would round to 8,000. Okay. Then we have 6,995. We're rounding to the thousands. Look to the right. Since it's 9, that is above 5, so we give it a shove, which means it goes up. This number goes up to 7,000. See how I'm putting zeros behind that number. All right, let's do one more. And let's do it to the hundreds place value. So we have 9,873. I said let's go to the hundreds. Let's round to the hundreds place value. We look to the right. That's a 7. So we go up to our rule, 5 or above, we give it a shove. So this is going to round. Now, we don't change anything before the rounding, so it's still 9,000. Because we're rounding to the hundreds place, not the thousands place. We don't change that. So 9 stays the same. Here's where we change. 8, we're rounding to the hundreds. So we look to the right. 7 is above 5, so we give the 8 a shove. And it would go up 1 place value. Go up 1 number. Okay, not to 10, not to 20. Goes up 1. So it rounds to 9,900. All right, so again, rounding to approximate a number to the nearest 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. Read the instructions. It could say round to the tens, round to the hundreds, round to the thousands. Read what it says. Then look one place to the right of the digit you want to round to. If that digit is 5 or above, give it a shove. If it's 4 or below, you let it rest, which means you keep it the same and then put zeros behind